Yes, that's me.
How are you?
I'm good. How you doing?
Good. Hey, thanks for joining us today. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Hey, I know we're going to Texas this week, and that's actually been a pretty good track for you over the years. 3 wins there overall. It's been a great place for you. It's also a very, very fast racetrack.
Yeah.
What is it about Texas that's challenging and that you've been able to handle so far in your career?
Yeah, we've won 3 races at Texas. It's been a great racetrack for me, and it's a very fast racetrack, and the transitions into the corners are different than some of the other mile and a halves we go to. It goes from being very flat to very banked, and the way it transitions is a little bit different. So it's kind of a tough track to get a handle on in that respect. But a year ago we had a great run. I'm very excited about going back and hopefully continuing our move forward in the points. We finished last week very well.
The thing about Texas, as you say, is all that speed. Are there things about that speed that make it more challenging for you as a driver when you're out there racing?
Yeah, it's a lot like the other mile and a half tracks, but you can get, at a place like Texas with a very good car, you can get lulled into a little bit of a false sense of security because you're going so fast through the corners, and especially off of turn 2. And I know this because I've smacked the wall in my truck the first time I was there off of turn 2. It'll jump out and grab you. The banking goes away very quickly, and so your car is driving along just fine. Then all of a sudden it slides, 10 feet over, and it's just a little bit tricky to get used to, but very fun racetrack.
I also noticed this is the first week of the DirecTV head-to-head knockout competition. Tell us what that's all about.
Yeah, DirecTV has come up with a really fun thing for the fans. Over 20,000 people have already filled out their brackets, and it's a lot like your March Madness tournament bracket. You fill it out. If you get a perfect bracket, it's $1 million. So they could be paying millions of dollars to people out there that get it perfect. And you fill it out at directv.com/NASCAR. And no matter what happens, they're going to donate $500,000 to different drivers, charities, helping local communities, and like mine here in Columbia, Missouri. And the person with the best bracket wins a 2010 Stage 3 Roush Mustang, which I have a 2005. It's a blast. It's a really neat car. So it's very cool what DirecTV is doing these next 4 races.
I couldn't help but notice as I looked down the bracket in this thing that if you were to get by Paul Menard in the first round, there's a good possibility you could meet up with your old buddy Brad Keselowski at Talladega, no less, in the second round. What do you think about that?
Well, I think that's interesting. Brad and I actually worked well for most of the race at Talladega. We worked very well until about 200 yards from the finish. So that would be actually a tough pick. We're both pretty good there.
So you've been on probation, 3 weeks now? And I mean, how was that for you probation-wise? Did you have to do anything funky, like, I don't know, shine up Belton's boots or whatever?
Yeah, Mike Helton is a really good probation officer. He doesn't ask me to do anything crazy. I don't have to go run his errands for him or anything. But I think I'm off probation now. I think Phoenix was it. So that's good. But I plan on driving like I'm on probation for a little while. We need to get some points. I don't need to be getting into it with anyone. I need to go out there and race. That's for sure.
And going through that whole experience, what did you learn?
Yeah, I learned a lot of things. The biggest thing I learned is that you just never know what's going to happen in a wreck. What happened with Brad's car at Atlanta was that was a surprise, to say the least. I couldn't believe that that car came off of the ground. So, I think it made everybody, myself included, take a little step back and say, man, anything can happen.
And in these 3 races with Brad since the incident, have you guys raced each other any differently now? Do you race against each other differently?
Yeah, I don't think we're not going to be running into each other on purpose anymore. I think that those days are over between him and I, and that's good.
Now, obviously, going to this Texas race, the big story is the spoiler on the back of the race car at a downforce racetrack. Do you expect the car to handle any differently, especially in traffic where I assume the turbulence pattern from the air coming off the spoiler is going to be kind of different?
It will be different, and nobody really knows exactly what it's going to be like. So that is the big question. That's going to be the thing that's, I think, going to make this race, really it'd be a lot of fun because even in practice, we don't practice around other cars. So, when they drop the green flag, no one really knows what it's going to be like to be 10th in line with these cars with spoilers and exactly what it's going to take as a driver to make up ground. It's going to be interesting.
Do you think you can use the notes that you've gathered over the past couple seasons there, or is it going to be totally different?
Well, we had the test at Charlotte. We learned a little bit, and it really didn't drive much differently. But really, it's kind of fun for us as racers because it's neat to go somewhere and have some new variable that you really don't you don't have a grasp on, and it puts the engineers and the crew chiefs and the drivers to work trying to figure something out. But really, no one really knows.
You know, watching the Roush Fenway cars this year, it seems like you and Greg and Matt, you're all in the top 12 right now, which is great for you guys. But looking in from the outside, it just feels like watching you guys, you've never really been sitting in a winning race car like you did so many times a couple years ago. How have you felt? Are you guys closing in on feeling like you're going to be in a race-winning car anytime soon?
Yeah, that's it for us, and we've got to be better. You know, I look back at years past, and there have been times where the Roush cars were the cars to beat. You know, we knew with 50 laps to go that a Roush car was going to win these races, and the guys have been working very hard. I mean, the engineers have been working. I think our lowest point was last year. I think about halfway through the season, we were as bad as we've been in a long time, and I feel like we're making progress. At Bristol, it was Matt, Greg, and I, top 3 on that last restart, and I thought this is what it's supposed to be like. We're supposed to be fast like this, and although we haven't won a bunch of races or anything, I think we're showing our strength in the points there.
And as you work through all this stuff to try to get better and try to beat people, I know Jack Roush said in the offseason, hey, we're not going to try to hit a big home run, look for something big to give us success, but rather we're going to optimize the little things. How is that process going? It's
so tough. No matter what you do, if there's someone else out there that's just staying ahead of you, I mean, it's very, very tough. And I think we're seeing that in the sport right now, that things are as tough as ever. But yeah, we're no longer focusing on, hey, we need this magic thing that's this big item to make us faster. We're trying to make ourselves better in all of the little aspects, like you said. And I think that in the end is the right thing to do.
You know, the other thing new that we've been really looking at the last couple of weeks, has really struck me actually the last couple of weeks, is this new green-white checker rule where we don't just have one attempt at it, but rather up to 3 attempts. And it seems like it really changes the strategy at the end of the race, because now you're not really sure how many extra laps you're going to get. How tough of a decision does that make it for you and the crew chief at the end of the race? I know at Phoenix, you guys took 4 tires. It actually worked out pretty well for you. You got back to 7th. But, boy, it must be a tough decision to make at the end of the race, not knowing how many laps or extra laps you're going to get.
It's very tough because, your mindset is that, okay, there's 2 laps left. But really, there might be, 2 laps and then 2 laps and then 2 laps. You might really get a few shots at the finish. And there's all these variables. Do you want the best tires, or do you want to be out front and not be in the wreck? I mean, it's very difficult to choose what to do. And I think Denny showed everyone at Martinsville. Who takes 4 tires, a green-white checkered at Martinsville? I mean, and the guy just drove through the field and won the race.
All right, man. Thank you so much. I really appreciate your time today. Good luck at Texas.
All right, cool. Yeah, go to directtv.com, fill out your bracket, and maybe you'll win $1 million.
Rowdy.com. Say it like it is.
Say what like it is?
Rowdy.com.